On January 27, 2025, $600 billion vanished from the American stock market in a single morning. Not from a banking crisis, not from a war, not from a pandemic. $600 billion evaporated because of one announcement from a tiny Chinese AI lab that most Americans had never heard of. The company was called DeepSeek. And what they revealed sent a terrifying message to Silicon Valley. America's decade-long lead in artificial intelligence might be ending, and China is coming faster than anyone predicted. But here is what nobody is telling you. DeepSeek is not the threat. DeepSeek is just the warning shot. What China is building behind closed doors is far bigger, far more coordinated, and far more dangerous than a single AI model. Let me tell you exactly what DeepSeek did, because the details matter. DeepSeek is a Chinese AI lab funded by a hedge fund in Hangzhou. Small team, no celebrity CEO, just engineers working in silence. In January 2025, they released an AI model called DeepSeek R1. This model can solve complex math problems, write sophisticated code, reason through multi-step logic puzzles. On multiple AI benchmarks, it performed nearly as well as OpenAI's most advanced system, which cost over $100 million to train. DeepSeek claimed they built their model for $5.6 million. They achieved 90% of the performance at less than 10% of the cost. But the truly terrifying part was the hardware. The United States government had banned the export of Nvidia's most powerful AI chips to China, the H100, the A100. China was supposed to be cut off from the hardware needed to compete. DeepSeek proved that assumption catastrophically wrong. They used older chips that were not banned. Through clever engineering and software optimization, they compensated for the hardware disadvantage. They built a world-class AI with one hand tied behind their back. When they released the model as open source, it became the #1 downloaded app on Apple's App Store in America within 48 hours. A Chinese AI product beating every American competitor on America's own App Store. That is when Nvidia's stock collapsed. $600 billion gone. The largest single-day loss for any company in stock market history. Silicon Valley's confidence shattered in one announcement. But here is what most people missed. DeepSeek is not a rogue startup. It is one small piece of a much larger machine. In 2017, the Chinese government published a document called the New Generation Artificial Intelligence Development Plan. Most Americans never read it. They should have. The goal was explicit. China intends to become the world leader in artificial intelligence by 2030. Not a participant, the leader. And the government committed billions to make it happen. China invests over $15 billion per year directly into AI research. But that number is misleading. It does not include investments from Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, and ByteDance. It does not include provincial funding, state-backed venture capital, or classified military programs. The real total is estimated at over $50 billion annually. And unlike America, where AI development is fragmented across competing companies, China's approach is coordinated. The government sets strategy. Companies execute. Resources are pooled when necessary. This is not a startup race. This is industrial policy, and it is working. China now publishes more AI research papers than any other country. Chinese universities graduate over 4 million STEM students per year. America graduates 800,000. China produces 5 times more engineers annually. And many elite Chinese researchers who studied at MIT and Stanford are returning home, attracted by massive salaries and national pride. DeepSeek is not fighting alone. China has built an army of AI companies most Americans have never heard of. Baidu is China's Google. They built Ernie Bot with over 200 million users. While Americans debate whether Bing can compete with Google, Baidu serves AI to 1 billion people across search, cloud, and autonomous vehicles. Alibaba built Qwen, an open-source AI model used by developers worldwide. Alibaba Cloud is one of Asia's largest platforms, and AI is its fastest-growing division. ByteDance, which owns TikTok, has developed its own large language models. They are embedding AI into content creation and recommendation systems that already shape what billions of people see online. Tencent owns WeChat, used by 1.2 billion people for messaging, payments, and healthcare. They are integrating AI throughout the platform, touching more daily interactions than almost any American system. And Huawei, despite being sanctioned and cut off from American technology, has built its own AI chip called the Ascend 910B. It proves China is building a domestic semiconductor supply chain, so American sanctions cannot stop them. This is not one company trying to catch OpenAI. This is a coordinated national effort with more resources, more talent, and more government support than any AI initiative in American history. There are 4 reasons this should terrify American policymakers. First, data advantage. China has 1.4 billion people generating massive data daily. AI models learn from data. More data means better models. Chinese privacy laws give companies far more access to that data than American laws permit. Second, cost efficiency. DeepSeek proved China can build competitive AI at a fraction of American costs. If Chinese companies deliver 90% of performance at 10% of the price, businesses worldwide will choose Chinese AI. Cost wins markets. Third, unified strategy. In America, Google fights Microsoft. Meta fights OpenAI. Resources fragment. In China, the government coordinates. Companies collaborate when ordered. It is unified effort against fragmented competition. Fourth, talent pipeline. China graduates 5 times more engineers than America annually. The gap is widening. The brain drain is reversing. America's talent advantage is eroding. America's primary weapon has been chip restrictions. In 2022, the Biden administration banned advanced Nvidia chips to China. The strategy was simple. No chips, no AI. For a while, it worked. Chinese companies scrambled. Then DeepSeek changed everything. They proved software ingenuity could compensate for hardware disadvantage. The restrictions were not enough. Now, the terrifying question is this. What happens when China develops advanced chips domestically and has the software skills DeepSeek demonstrated? What happens when restrictions stop working entirely? Huawei is building chips. SMIC is advancing despite sanctions. China is investing over $100 billion in semiconductors. The chip war is not over, but the assumption it could stop China is crumbling. Right now, America still leads. GPT-4 is still the best. Nvidia still makes the best chips. But the gap is closing fast. 5 years ago, China was 3 to 5 years behind. Today, experts estimate 12 to 18 months. On some benchmarks, Chinese models already match American performance. This is not just a technology race. It is an economic race determining which countries' companies dominate globally. A military race shaping the balance of power for generations. A geopolitical race deciding who writes the rules for AI worldwide. America won the nuclear race, the space race, the internet race. But the AI race is not over. And for the first time in decades, there is a serious competitor closing the gap faster than anyone expected. China has the plan, the money, the people, and the patience America often lacks. The question is no longer whether China can compete. The question is whether America can stay ahead. What do you think? Will America hold the lead, or will China overtake? Drop your prediction in the comments. I am Shadow Tech, and I will see you in the next one.